Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is a lecture from Code Learning Academy. This is a channel where we teach you about website development, machine learning, artificial intelligence, database, and much more. So in this course, we are going to design a fully responsive food ordering website using HTML, CSS, and a little bit JavaScript. Before directly dive right into the design part, let me show you the features of this website that we are going to design right now in this course. And then at the beginning, you can decide whether to watch this video or not to watch. It's the choice is up to you. If you have an interest to develop and to master the front facing of any food ordering website just like this is the right course for you. So here is the home section for this responsible food ordering website, and over here we have a logo on the left and we have a navigation menu right here. So here we have the home section. In the home section, you have a header text right here and a nice call to action button right here. And also we have a linear gradient background image. The best part is we have 4 background images as you see here. These background images animate every second. This is a cool trick that I will show you in this course. So I will show you exactly how you can create this animated background image just like this one. Here we have another section right here, and here we have a read more button right here just like this one. And when you come to this is our order your favorite food, right? As you see here, this is the favorite food that we deliver to our customer, and you see it has a nice animation just like this one and a nice order now button right here. And again, here is it. And also this is, you can download our application on Google or Play Store or whatever you want. This is the steps that we are going to build just like this one. And then again, here is the special award chip. It is amazing, right? It's amazing. You see, it is nice looking background image with fixed position, and here is the name of the chief, and here is just like this one. It's amazing, interesting, right? You see, and here is the latest blog section right here. You see, here you have a read more button, and now when you drag a little bit down, you see choose the best plan for you. You see, this is the starter plan, the basic plan, and enterprise plan right here. So again, we have a nice hover over effect right here. We have just added a nice hover over effect just like this one. It is very beautiful. It's very amazing and beautiful. So I'm going to show you exactly how you can create such a nice pricing plus section just like this. You see? Okay, again, when we drag a little bit down, we have find the contact section. You see, this is a fixed background image right here, and you see a call to action button. When you click on this name, and you see a hover over effect, when we hover over or when we click on this name right here, you will find just like this. And when you click on email button right here, you will find just like this one, and you can select this from here. This is amazing, right? And here is a newsletter, and you can tick or you can untick. By default it was checked, right? So you can uncheck it or you can check it, and it is a drop as a line, or you can put your comment right here. And now we have a nice submit button right here. This is also amazing, and having a nice background color right here, which is very interesting. And now when we drag a little bit, we find that our contact section right here. Here we have our contact section, and here we have the place that our company is fine. This is the Google map, and then we have just integrated the Google map right here that indicates where our food ordering website is found, right? You see, here is it. So you can minimize and you can find where this company is found, so you can detect the exact location for our website, just like this one. No matter, I'm going to show you exactly how you can integrate the Google map to your website. This is amazing. And now when we drag it down, we have reached the footer section right here. Here is the footer section, and here is the website footer section. It is responsible for any device. So when you come to this is the quick link, and here is also the link. That's nice, right? Okay, the payment option, and here is the social media button right here. So as a web developer, what do you feel about this website? Do you have an interest to build such kind of an amazing, fully responsible food ordering website, but don't know where to start? This is the right course for you. I'm going to show you everything you need to know from start to finish, from zero to hero, in order to develop such kind of beautiful food ordering website just like this one. The only thing expected from you is to devote your time. I'm going to show you everything from start, how to start from the basics of website development, how to set up the folder structure, and how to integrate each folder, and then you can be able to develop your own food ordering website just like this one using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That is it. If this sounds interesting, make sure to subscribe and press the notification bell icon to be notified when I come out a daily programming training video just like this one. With that being said, now let's dive right into the first section for this development project. Hello and welcome. In this lesson, we are going to set the foundation for our website design project. Actually, these are the steps you will need to follow for any website design project. So, pay attention. The first things first, open your text editor and follow me. First, we need to set up our folder structure. And first, we need to create a folder and make sure that we have everything related to the project in one project folder. So, let's do that. I'm going to create a folder right on my desktop. I'm going to call it Food Delivery Website right here. So create a folder having a folder name, let me say Food Delivery Website. And now we have the folder ready. We can put all the content, the images, documents, and other necessary things in the folder. Now here is how. Here is how web design projects are usually organized by the web designer, and you should also organize your project like this through your project folder. Should have two folders. One should be called resources, and the second one should be called vendors. So now let's create these two folders right here. Alright, here we have the resource folder, and here we have the vendors folder. In the resource folder, you will again have different folders: CSS, JS, and image folder. Now let's create these folders right here inside the resources folder. The CSS folder will of course contain all the CSS file that you created, and the image folder will have all your images, and your JS folder will have all your jQuery and JavaScript code inside the folder. Designers usually have another image folder inside this CSS folder. Let me create this folder inside the CSS folder and call it img. And this is the image folder usually to hold images related to your project, like your background image and other stuff. When we come to the vendors folder here, we will again have a CSS, but this folder will hold all the external CSS files that you will download or that have been created by someone else. Then you will have a font folder here. This folder will hold font files that you will download, and then you will also have another JS folder right here. This JS folder will hold all the vendors' jQuery and JavaScript files, not the ones that you created. This is an external file that you download from the internet. We're going to be using some vendors jQuery with this website. So don't forget to put the jQuery file inside this folder. Now, once the folder structure is ready, we can get back to our code editor. In this project, I'm going to use Sublime Text. You can use any text editor as you want. It may be VS Code, it may be brackets, or it may be Atom, or whatever you want. It is up to you. So the best two code editors that I recommended is VS Code and Sublime Text. So in this case, I'm going to use Sublime Text. And now start coding. Let's create a new file and save it as an index. Now over here, let's create a new file right here and save it as an index.html. And we're going to place it in our project folder, food delivery website. We'll put it in the root of the project folder right here. Now we create a CSS file, so file new, and we'll save it as style.css, and we'll save it inside the resources CSS folder, since this will be developed by us. Now we are going to add the basic code that we will always need for every website, and that is we put a star, which is universal selector, margin 0, padding 0, and box sizing border box. Let's add a general property for the whole HTML and body selector right here. So using these two element selector, an HTML and body element selector, we are going to add a general properties for the whole HTML document. So the global font size, let me say, in this case I'm going to use a general global font size 60 pixels. It's possible to change it for an individual elements later, of course, but this is going to be just the general setting, and we'll also set a property called text rendering. Text rendering optimize legibility. This text rendering property makes sure that your font gets rendered properly on your web page and then let's import the font we need for our website. We are going to download them. We are just going to use from Google Fonts. So in your browser, go to google.com and this is, and then select any font as you want. In this design project, we are going to use Poppins. So let's sort it. So let's find it, Poppins. And you can see over here the different styles that are available for this. The different fonts that are available, like you have italic font, you have higher font weight, and then you have lower font weight, and also you have a medium font weight. So select any font style that you want. We should try to avoid importing too many fonts because it slows down our website while rendering, so we don't want that, right? Once you have all that you need to select it, click on the link tag right here. Because we simply want to copy the HTML code and paste it in our file. As you can see, Google Font makes your HTML link tag ready with all the fonts that you want to link to. So all you need to do is just select it, copy it and paste and place it in your index file inside the head elements. Copy it and place it in your file. We also need to link our index file to our stylish document, style.css. Never forget that. And this is. Now we are ready to create the actual design, but before that we need to download a few CSS files from the internet. We will see that after which we can get started. Okay, welcome back. In the last lesson, we set up the folder structure and wrote the basic design for our web page. In this lesson, we will set up the basic part of our code, something that you probably need to do every time you start building a web page, that is setting up a browser reset and a fruit grid. You'll get both from this website, from responsivegridsystem.com. Now, what is browser reset and what is fruit grid? Oh, well, a browser reset, also called a normalized style sheet, makes a browser display all the elements more consistently and aligned with a modern standards. It precisely targets only the styles that need normalizing. And saying this, what is fluid grid? In a fluid grid, all elements are sized in relative units such as percentage instead of absolute units such as pixels. This makes it easier to adjust the size of our elements so that parent element and the size of the element changes in proportion to the size of the screen that they are viewed in. You know that website may be viewed on computer monitor, laptop screen, a tablet or a mobile phone. Each has different screen size, so it is important to make sure that our elements adjust their size according to the screen size. Otherwise, they will overflow to the size of the screen. And once that happens, we see that website is unresponsive or non-responsive. A responsive website is the one that looks great and adjusts itself according to the device and the size of the screen it is viewed in. Thus, using a fluid grid helps make sure that your elements are laid out in such a way that they are almost fluid. They adjust themselves with the screen. For example, this is a responsive website. As I said before, a responsive website is the one that looks great and adjusts itself according to the device and the size of the screen it is viewed in. And also, if we take a look at this website here, and we adjust the size, see what happened? See what happens over here. The elements adjust their width and the size according to the size of your screen. As I said before, to get a responsive grid, you can visit responsivegridsystem.com. From here, you can get the code for the fluid grid if you just click on download. So, if you click on a download, you will get a zip file. Okay, here is a zip file. I'm not going to download it again because I already have it, but I will just show you what it looks like after you download. So this is what it looks like. You have a CSS folder here, And inside it, you have all these CSS files. The download also contain a browser reset for your web page, so you don't need to download any extra CSS from elsewhere. The only problem is that it gives you the CSS file in separate parts. So over here you have one for the two columns, one for the four columns, one for five columns, which is not really very convenient. So what I did is I put all their code together in one CSS folder like this. And once you download and put it in one CSS folder, just copy and paste into your vendor's folder CSS, because this is not among your own code file. It was made by someone else. So let's do that right now. I will save as and we are going to call it fluid.css, and then of course don't forget to include a link to this file from your index.html. So let's include that. So using a link tag in the head section, it was under vendors CSS and it was called fluid.css. Now let me show you what so cool about this fluid.css. So when you use this fluid CSS, you can easily divide your content into rows and columns. In each row, you can have either one column, two columns, three columns, four columns, five columns, or even up to 12 columns. All this group of columns have the same width if you notice. The total weight of all these columns are the same, and individually also they are divided into equal sized columns. The benefit of dividing our content into columns along with the width of the screen is that you can then manipulate content of the column as a group instead of separately handling them. Now see what happened when I reduce the width of the screen. See, all these columns reduce their width so that the total width remains the same. They also maintain their width ratio with each other, so they will still equally sized, but they have just become a little narrower, and the total size of them is also equal, and the total size of each. So you also see that you don't not compromise on the number of columns. You don't see any columns shifting and moving to the next row unless you come to a certain width. When they will not really look nice and will not probably look a little bit squished, and that is when each column arranges itself one way or the other. And this is what I mean by fluid grid. This only happens because the columns which are set in percentage rather than in pixel. So they set their width according to the width of the device screen. This is very important when you want to make a responsive website using importing the fluid grid. So now let's just briefly browse through the fluid.css file right here, and this is all about. Okay, now we have just completed the basic setup, the basic folder that are needed to design a responsible website that are responsible for any device having different screen size. So having this, now let's jump right into the design part. Follow me along, and finally you will have your own food ordering website just like this. Before that, if you are new to this channel, make sure to subscribe and press the notification bell icon to be notified while I come out a daily programming training video just like this one. With that being said, let's dive right into it. Hey, what's up everyone? In this episode, we are going to walk you through to create the beautiful animated header part of the website. As you see here is our project folder and here is our project document. So in this case, we are going to link the font awesome document, the fruit grid document, and also the CSS document into our HTML document right here. So as you see here we have our project folder. Here is inside the resource folder, we have a CSS folder. In this CSS folder, we have our style.css folder. As you see here we have, so we have to link this style.css with an HTML document right here. And inside the vendors folder again, we have font awesome document and a fluid grid document. So again, we have to link this fluid grid document with an HTML document and the document that we have got from font awesome with an HTML document right here. Okay, now let me open this document inside my browser. Okay, here is. Okay, now again, let's start to create our visible part of the web page. The first is header part. Inside the header, we have to have a nav element. In this nav element, we have to nest an img source. The source of an image is over here, which is found inside the resource, and an image folder that are found inside the resource folder. So over here we have this logo, so which is found inside the resource, and img, and again slash foodweblogo.png, which is the name of the image. This image is found inside the image folder, and the image folder also found inside the resource folder. Foodweb website logo, which is very important for search engine optimization, and also this text is displayed when the image is not found inside our web browser. And again, inside this nav element, we have an order list. Inside this unordered list, we have list items that are displayed in my web browser. Okay, a line and an anchor element. And let me copy this 5 times. Okay, here we have. And let me adjust the placement of this list item. And here we have our menu bar. Over here, the first menu bar will be home and service. And again, order now. And then we have how we work, and here we have a blog, and finally we have one extra navigation menu, which is contact. Let me copy this and paste over here and delete this and write contact us right here. Okay, here we have our expected navigation menu. Okay, now let me save and refresh. Okay, here we have, right? So to see it visible over here, let me size the background color black, and when we save and refresh, we able to clearly see our logo and our navigation menu. Now let me add a comment over here in order to organize our document. Again, outside of this navigation, let me add a comment over here. Website background image. Okay, now let me create a div element having a class name slider here, and then inside this div element we have to nest another div element having a class name slide header image 1. Put a period over here. Okay, and then press tab key on your keyboard, and then here we have. Then let me copy this 3 times since we need 4 background image, and then let me adjust the placement of these. Okay, here we have, right? And outside of this development, we have to create again our header content. our header content is nested inside this div element having a header box class name. And again, we have an h1 element. As you see here we have the text that we interested to place over the header part of the image, and we have two call to action button. We have this click order. Let me copy this and paste over here. Again, let me create another call to action button right here. Let me create this show me more call to action and paste over here. Now let me save and refresh. Okay, since the text for our h1 element is black, we cannot able to clearly see that text as you see here. Let me change this into gray. Okay, and now let me save and refresh. Here we have our text, our call to action button, and our navigation menu is clearly visible. Well, the major goal is to create this beautiful, responsive header part of the website. As you see here, this header part has a beautiful call to action and an animated background image right here. What cool is that? So we are eager to show how you can create this beautiful responsible header part of the website right here in this video. And now over here, let me say a class name logo, and again inside this UL unordered list we have to have a class having a class name menu bar, and also inside this h1 element we have to need a class having a class name header box heading. And let me remove this. By the way, here we have the font size 60 pixel, which is the global font size, and font family poppin sans serif, and using an element selector nav margin auto with 100%, the width of this navigation menu 100%, and background color 000, which is the hexadecimal color code of a black color, and using a class selector logo, and the first property for this logo with, let me say, the width of this logo will be 50 pixel and margin 10 pixel from top and bottom, and 50 pixel from left and right. And again over here let me override this margin adding margin bottom, let me say 0, and it overrides the upper margin bottom, which is 50 pixel. And again let me save and refresh. Here we have right float to the left, and again using a class selector menu bar right here, menu bar float to the right. And now let me save and refresh. Here we are, right? Okay, the background color is already gone. Why this happen? The reason is inside this nav selector we have to add a position absolute and left 0, and again top 0. So the position will be absolute and left 0 and top 0. Let me save and refresh. Here is it, right? Again using a descendant selector menu bar and li, in this case any list item which is found inside the menu bar class have such property. The first property will be display a line block, and another property list style none in order to remove the bullet point, and again margin right, let me say 30 pixel, and let me say margin top 20 pixel, and let me save and refresh. Okay, here we have right, and let me continue. Again, using a descendant selector, menu bar, li, and an anchor element, let me remove this, and as you see here, any element which is nested inside this anchor element, which is nested inside the list item, and this list item, which is found inside the menu bar class, have such property. The first property is text decoration none. This text decoration is able to remove the underline from the navigation menu, and color, let me say white FFF hashtag FFF, which is the hexadecimal color code of a white color. And again, font size, let me say the font size 120%, which is, in this case, our global font size is 60 pixel. So 120% of 60 pixel is some number, right? Okay, and again, font weight, let me say font weight 300, and text transform uppercase. Let me save and refresh. Here we have, right? What is that? And now we have to add a hover over effect on this navigation menu. So to do this, let me copy this and paste over here, and let me remove this and a pseudo class selector, hover, padding bottom, let me say 7 pixel, and again border bottom 3 pixel, solid hashtag ff9. Okay, now nothing is displayed. Why? Here is a mistake, we left a blank space. So let me save and refresh again. Here we have, right? Okay, what code is that? Okay, now let me add some animation while we are hovering on this navigation menu. So to do this, let me add another property, transition. Let me say the value that targets border 0.4 second is. And now let me save and refresh. Here we have, right? Okay, now we have just completed our first navigation menu. Okay, then using a class selector slider header to add a background image. So first let me add a comment over here, and using this class selector, the first property value pair is height. Let me say height 90 viewport height. VH means viewport height, right? And using another class selector right here, slide header image 1, in order to add a linear gradient background image. Using this class selector, we need to add different property value pair right here. The first property is position. Position absolute top 0 and left 0, and again background image URL in order to locate the destination or the location of this image. So the exact image location is the image is found inside the page folder. The page folder also found inside the img folder. So over here, as you see here, we have bg, we have img / and bg / and the image name having a JPG format right here. And now let me save and refresh. As you see here, nothing is displayed since we have to add another value pair. So over here, we have to add a property with 100% in height 100 viewport height. And now let me save and refresh. Here we have a repetitive background image. So to remove this repetitive, we have to add another property, background property, which is background repeat, no repeat, and another background property, background position, center. And also, let me add another background property, which is background size. Background size, cover. It covers the whole area. So now, let me save and refresh. Here we have a beautiful background image. Now on nav selector we have to add z index 1. So again, now let me save and refresh. Here we have, right? Okay, the navigation menu is displayed over the background image. So again, over here we have to add a linear gradient over the background image. So in this case, linear gradient having different RGB color. Here we have the first color and the second color, the third color, and separated by a comma. Here we have, right? And here we have a linear background. Now let me save and refresh. Here is a beautiful linear background image. So now let me copy this 3 times. Copy and paste. Slide header image 2 and paste over here and change this 1 into 2, 3 into 3, and over here let me change this 1 into 3 and this 1 into 2, and again let me copy this one more times and change this 1 into 4, and again change this one image name into 4. Since we have 4 background images, and then we have to change this class name 1 into 2, 3, and finally 4. Alright, and now let me save and refresh. As you see here, here is the last background image that overrides another 3 background image. So, to display this background one by one, we have to use a keyframe rule that enables to display this background image one by one. Let me add a comment over here. Header image animation using a keyframe rule. So here is the keyframe rule that enables us to animate our background image. So here we have the keyframe rules, and here is 1, which is our animation name, and at 0 what will happen? Here is at 0% and opacity. The first image opacity at 0, opacity 1, and again let me copy this and paste 4 times. And here is a cool trick. At 25%, opacity of the first background image becomes 0, and at 50%, the opacity of the first background image becomes 0 again. And at 70%, the opacity of this first background image again becomes 0. And again, let me copy this and paste over here. And finally, the opacity of the first background image at 100% become again displayed. So the opacity become 1, right? And now using this animation name and add over here on the first background image. So animation, then followed by the first value is animation name, which is followed by animation duration, which is 10 seconds is in. So now let me copy this and paste over here, right? And let me change this animation name into 2. By the way, you can assign any animation name. It is up to you, right? The opacity of this second background image at 0% becomes 0, since the first background image is 1, and at 25% the opacity becomes 1, and at 50, at 75, and at 100%, the opacity become again 0. And now let me add this, and now using this animation name, the same 10 second is in. Okay, alright. And now let me do this for another. To do this, let me copy this and paste over here. And now let me change this 2 into 3. The opacity of this background image 3 at 0% and 25% becomes 0, and again at 50% the opacity become 1. Alright? And at 100% and 75% again 0. Right? Since the opacity of image 1, background image 1 and background image 2 become 1 at 0 and 25% respectively. So it becomes 0 at this percent. And now let me copy this and change this into 0 at 50%, 0, and the opacity of this background image 4 become at 75 become 1 and change into keyframe animation name into 4. Alright? Do you understand? And now let me copy this and paste over here. Right? And now let me change this animation name. Sorry. And finally, let me copy this and paste over here. And the only thing expected from you is to change this animation name to into 4, right? And now let me save and refresh. Here we have, right? As you see here, we have an animated background image. So here is it, but it stops after 10-second animation duration. Here is, right? So to animate this infinite times, we have to change this easy in into infinite. Infinite is an animation iteration count. So if we are interested to animate our background image infinite times, we have to change this animation iteration count into infinite right here. And now let me change this easy in into again infinite. Now let me save and refresh, and you can observe the effect, right? So it animates infinite times. It never stop animation. Alright. And now let me style this header box content using a class selector header box, and first property value pair will be width. Let me say the width of this header box. Let me say 960 pixel, and again position absolute, top 30%, left 50%, and another property translate. First let me save and refresh to see the effect. Here we have, right? So let me add transform, translate 50% to the left and 50%. Here we have, right? Text align, center, and now let me save and refresh. Here we have, right? So again, using this class selector, header box, and margin 0 from top and bottom, and also from left and right. And again, color, white color, and font size. Let me say font size 250% of 60 pixel, which is the global font size. Font weight 300. Text transform, capitalize. Now let me save and refresh. Here we have, right? Now letter spacing 1 pixel. Let me say word spacing 3 pixel in order to adjust the space between the two consecutive words. Let me say 3 pixel, and line height, which is a gap between two sentences, 150%. Which is 150% of the global font size. Okay, now here we have, right? Now let me down this a little bit. So to do this, let me remove this minus sign. Okay, here we have, right? Let me style this h1 element. So to style this h1 element, we have to create another element, span element, and nest this text right here. Span goodbye junk food is nested on a span element, and to start a new line we have to use br tag right here. And now let me save and refresh. Here we have, right? Using a descendant selector, header box, and span, let me style this Goodbye junk food text. Well, so a class selector header box with an element selector span the texts that are nested in this descendant selector will have such property. The first property is padding bottom 20 pixel, font size 260% of 60 pixel, and then font family. Let me add another font family over here. Calibri, sans serif, deal sans, and so on. And font style, italic. And now let me save and refresh. Here we have, right? Okay, and now let me style this call to action button. So, to style this call to action button, first let me add a comment over here. First, let me create a class over here. Class button. For the first call to action, btn full, and for the second call to action, btn ghost. By the way, you can add multiple class name inside one class attribute. So, using this class selector btn, let me say the first property value pair, text decoration, none, display, inline block, and save and refresh. Here we have, right? And again, let me add another property value pair, font size 150% and color white FFF, and padding 7 pixel from top and bottom and 20 pixel from left and right. And again, margin top, let me say 25 pixel, margin right, let me say 20 pixel. And now let me save and refresh. Here we have. And now again, using another class selector for the first call to action button, btn full. So background color, let me copy this background color. Here we have, let me copy this hexadecimal background color and paste over here. And again, border 1 pixel, solid orange. Now here we have, right? Okay, now again, let me add a pseudo class selector, link, and visited state. Okay, and what will happen in link state and in visited state. So over here again, let me add a border radius on btn. Let me say border radius 8 pixel and save and refresh. Here we have. And now let me copy this and paste over here and change this btn full into btn ghost. Okay, now, and background, let me say transparent. Let me save and refresh. Here we are, right? Okay, now over here, let me add another property, transition background. First, let me target background and 0.5 second, and again let me target this border and paste over here, and again 0.5 second, and also let me target color 0.5 second, and then let me add a hover over effect over this call to action button. First, btn full, hover using a pseudo class selector hover, and btn full active, and again using this class selector btn ghost hover and btn ghost active will have such property value pair. Background color will have such background color, and border 1 pixel solid. Let me copy this color hexadecimal color code and paste over here. Let me add a period over here since it is a class selector, and now save and refresh. You see, here we are, right? And now, congratulations, we have just finished the header part of this responsible website. In the next episode, we will continue to create this service section right here. Take a cup of coffee and follow attentively. Okay, well, in this section of the course, we are going to walk you through to create the service section of this website right here. As you see here, this service section has different styles and it also has different icons right here. So we'll teach you exactly how you can do this. So over here, we need to use a float grid in order to divide just like this one. And here we have a float grid class selector called row. And also we are going to use span 104. That means each covers 20% of its parent element width. So first let me add a comment over here, service section, and then let me create a section. Inside this section we have two rows, the header part and the service section part. Here we have class row, and here we have an h2 element having a class name section heading, and also here we have a paragraph element having features para. So here we have our text that we are going to use. So let me copy this and paste over here, and again let me copy this paragraph and paste inside the paragraph element right here. And then here is the first row, and outside of this row we will have another row. So row, and this row is divided into 4 columns. So over here the float grid is coming to play. So over here we use a class name called, which is found from a float grid document as you see here, and we are going to use a span 1 class selector. Why? Because we will divide this single row into 4 columns. As you see here, here is a span 104. A single column will cover 23%, as you see here. So now inside this class we can able to add another class name, in this case call and span 104. Again we have an h3 element and a paragraph element. Here we have the text that we are going to use on h3 element, and copy and paste. And again here we have a paragraph, and copy that paragraph and paste inside this paragraph. Okay, here we also have an anchor element and read more. And then let me save and refresh. Here we have, and now let me add this icon. So in order to add different icons for your website design, first you should integrate font awesome with your HTML document, and then come over here on font awesome search bar and search time, and then click on free. After that we have this icon, and then click on the icon that you are interested, and then click copy this HTML link and then paste over here. Alright, and now save and refresh. Here we have a little icon right here. Okay, now let's jump into to style this HTML document right here. So using a class selector, a row with the width of each row, let me say 1140 pixel, and margin of each row, let me say 0 from top and bottom and auto from left and right, in order to adjust it at the center. So again, using this class selector to style our h2 element. So section heading, and the first property, font size, let me say font size 200%, font weight 400, margin bottom, let me say 20 pixel, word spacing 1.5 pixel, and padding top, let me say 100 pixel, and then text align center, and again a letter spacing 2 pixel. Finally, text transform uppercase. And now let me save and refresh in my web browser. Here we are, right? As you see here, here is the first column that covers 23% of the width of the row. So next we will design this line. So in order to design this line using a pseudo class selector, section heading, and after, and then let me say the first property display block and with 100 pixel, and the height of this line let me say 4 pixel, and background color let me add a primary color. Here is my primary color over here, and copy this color and paste over here. Okay, and now again let me save and refresh. Here we have nothing displayed. I will show you the reason why. So the reason is we should add content, and the value will be empty. And now let me save and refresh. Okay, here we have our line. So we will add another property, margin 0, and also to align it at the center. And again, margin top 25 pixel. And now let me save and refresh. Here we have, right? And let me add a class over here, service section, in order to add a background color. So using this class selector, here is so using this class selector, service section, background color, here is the color code that we are going to use as a background color, and text align center. And now let me save and refresh. Here we have a nice background color. And again, using this class selector, features para in order to style this paragraph right here. So using this class selector, features para, font size, let me say 120%, and line height 150% of the 60 pixel, which is a global font size, and text align center, and then padding bottom 50 pixel. And now save and refresh in my web browser. Here we have, right? Okay, now let me add another class name over here. So let me say service feature, and in order to style this icon right here, we are going to use a descendant selector, service section, and the first property value pair, font size 450%, since we will consider it just like a normal text. That's why we will design just like a text. So color orange, and padding bottom, let me say 50 pixel, and now save and refresh. Here we have a nice icon right here. Okay, now let me style this h3 element. So to style this h3 element, right here, let me copy this and delete it, and then replace I by h3, font size. Let me say the font size 170%, and font weight, let me say 400, and padding bottom 25 pixel, color black, line height 200%. Now save and refresh. Here we have, right? Okay, now let me decrease its line height a little bit. Let me say 180%, and now save and refresh. Okay, it's cool. Now let me style this paragraph right here. So to style this paragraph is nested inside the div element having a class name service feature. So let me copy this and paste over here and change h3 into p. And now delete this, and let me say the first property, text align justify, and again line height, let me say line height 150% of the global font size 60 pixel. Again margin bottom 20 pixel, and now save and refresh in my web browser. Okay, here we have. And now let me style this read more call to action. So to style this, we can use either descendant selector, service section and A, or we can style using by creating another class name right here. Let me say service link. It's better to add a class name right here. So using this service link class selector, text decoration none, color, okay, here we have my primary color, and copy this color and paste over here. Text transform uppercase, let me add dot over here, and now save and refresh. Here we are, right? Okay, now let me add a hover over effect over this link. So copy this and paste over here and add a pseudo class selector. However, remove this and border to pixel solid and copy this primary color and paste over here. Background transparent, border radius, let me say 80 pixel, and again padding 3 pixel from top and bottom and 10 pixel from left and right. And now let me save and refresh. Okay, here we have, right? When we hover over on this link, this style will display it, right? And now let me copy this and paste it 3 times right here. So we have 4 columns. And now let me save and refresh. Here we have, right? As you see here, each column is covered 23% of the row width. In this case, the row width is 1140 pixel. This style is come from a fluid grid, right? That's why we should link this fluid grid with an HTML element right here. Okay, now here we have the content that we will use to create this feature section. So copy this and paste right here, and then here we have a paragraph. Copy this paragraph and paste right here. Copy this again and paste right here, and also copy this paragraph again, come over here and paste right here. Finally, copy this text right here, paste over here. Finally, copy this last paragraph right here and then paste over here. Now let me save and refresh. Here we have, right? And then in order to add different font awesome icons right here, as always, come over fontawesome.com and find your favorite icon, and then filter by free right here, and here we have different icons right here. So let me use this icon carrot and click over here and copy this HTML link and then paste right here, and then let me use this right here, copy this hamburger and then paste this HTML link right here. Finally, search time right here, filter by free Let me use this icon right here. Copy this HTML link and then paste right here. Okay, now save and refresh. Here we have, right? And let me use this class selector service feature, padding left, 20 pixel. Now save and refresh. Here we have, right? Now over here, let me copy this organic food. Here we are, right? On the next episode, we will continue to design another section of this responsible food ordering website right now.